Here we go. Alors, je réponds à vos questions en direct. Je réponds à vos questions sur l'apprentissage de l'anglais. Donc, we're going to talk about English learning and anything you would like us to discuss. So, I will answer your questions. If you have a question related to English, your learning challenges, anything, let me know and then we're going to talk about it. Hello, Ariel. Good morning. How are you doing? Can you hear me? Your microphone is off. So, guys, that's what we're going to be doing. Prepare questions, and let's see how I can help with your English related concerns. One of the most commonly asked questions is how can I stop translating from my native language? So, French, for instance, when speaking in English. That's something we can talk about. If you relate, let me know so we can talk about it. All right. Hello. Good morning to Rodriguez. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, Mr. Mike. What about you?
I'm doing wonderful. So, this is a Q&A. Let me know if you have a question and we're going to talk about it. I'll try and answer your question.
Okay, I have one. My question is about, can I say, native speakers, because
Mhm.
sometimes I can say a hard time understanding when Americans speak fast, and I just want
Right.
to know how can I understand native speakers better when they speak fast?
Yeah, for you to understand native speakers better when they speak fast, you need to break down fast English or natural English. How do you do it? You listen to them while reading the transcript. For instance, you have a
Mm,
movie, you have a speech, whatever it is, you have the audio, and then you also have the text. So, what you will do here is to read the text and pay close attention to everything that happens when they are speaking. The pronunciation of individual words, the accent, as in general, so how they connect the different words, and you do it over and over. It's not a one day thing, right? It doesn't happen overnight. It's a long process, right? So you need to do it
mm,
over and over. And the more you do it, the more you learn. And, the easier it will be for you to break it down. So you definitely need to go through this process of listening and reading at the same time. If you don't do it, you can figure things out as you learn vocabulary, but you might still struggle a lot with native speakers, right? So, for
yeah.
somebody who lives in the United States, for instance, if they do not take time to properly study or analyze natural English, and then they just talk to native speakers, which is great, they will learn a lot of stuff and they'll get used to things. Their brains will build connections and figure things out. That's fine. It happens. But the most effective and probably faster way to do it is, in addition to listening to people and talking to people, you want to spend some time analyzing how they speak. So you have a text, you have an audio, and you make it happen. Let me give you an example. So I have built a practice tool where you will find this type of of activities. Let me just give you, just a brief example. Right. So when you take a task like this, and then um you okay, so this is a native speaker saying something. Okay. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna listen,
I was the kind of person that if you upset me, you would know it, essentially. And it took me a long time
right?
to learn.
And then you analyze everything the person says, not only for general and specific understanding, but in terms of how they connect these words, right? if you want to read this sentence, you would probably say, and it took me a long time. But when a native speaker says it, they'll say, and it took me a long time, right? And it. So you notice that there is a liaison between and it. You connect both things and it sounds and it, right? And it took me a long time. So generally what happens is they are not necessarily speaking very fast. They are speaking naturally, but you are not used to natural speech. You didn't spend time analyzing natural speech. And that's the problem, right? So as we go, look here, for instance.
We create a ripple of negative energy that at some point comes back to us. And the problem with this is that there is something.
Right. If somebody says, and the problem with this is that, you'll probably understand it. But when a native speaker says, and the problem with it is that, they are speaking naturally. They are not necessarily speaking fast. They are speaking naturally. They are connecting words the way a native speaker does. So that kind of answers your question, I guess. If you want to break down or figure out fast English, you need to spend time analyzing natural English, which is actually the correct term. It's not necessarily fast English, it's natural English, right? That's how you do it. You analyze it. You listen, you read a text, you don't, it's not necessarily something very theoretical. There is a theory behind it. So for those who take the survival English boost training, we work on that, right? So I break down everything for them, and I shows them the intricacies of these phenomena that occur when native speakers are making sentences, when they are connecting words, when they say things. But you don't, if you don't have the means to do it, you don't need to take a training for that. You can spend time and analyze it. You listen carefully, and then you will figure things out naturally. Your brain, the human brain, is very good at building connections, and figuring things out. So I think you will definitely notice a significant change from the time or from the day you really take it seriously, sit down and analyze natural English. I don't call it fast English as such. I call it natural English. It's not fast, right? Okay. So let's see if we have another question here. Is there anybody else who would like to ask a question? I hope that answers your question. Who was it? Was it Rodriguez? Does that
Yeah,
answer your
Rodrigo.
question?
Yeah, Mr. Mike, so what about, I can say, the
Mhm.
choice, the rhythm, and the intonation?
All
That
these
also, I can
things,
say, talent. Yeah.
you will notice, you will learn all these things in context, because what I was talking about is something you do personally, right? It's gonna help you a lot with your pronunciation and your accent yourself. So it's not just about listening. I always say that learning or practicing from a listening perspective is probably the most complete and comprehensive approach to English practice and also English learning. So you want to do it. So there are two ways to approach it. You can do it theoretically, but in this case, you would need to take a training, because you will need to have these things broken down for you. So that's not something I can do right now, because we have a lot of content, a lot of information, many things to say here, right? But there are rules for it. There are rules. For example, you know that when you have a word with two syllables, if the word can be used as a verb and as a noun, when it is a verb, the stress is going to be on the second syllable. The typical example is record. And then if it's a noun, the verb is going to be on the first syllable. In this case, it's going to be record, right? So a criminal
Mm.
record, and then to record something. And so that's it. And then we have other rules for words with three syllables, for adverbs, for you know so many things we can talk about right here, right? So I you will figure it out by yourself when you're practicing. Maybe it will not be of course it's not going to be very theoretical, so you will not have a clear linguistic explanation for that. But at least, after hearing this and that and this and that repeatedly, your brain will build the necessary connections and you will come to almost the same conclusions as somebody who learns it theoretically. There are so many things that I've learned and that I'm using when I speak English that I didn't sit down to learn theoretically. It's just that's what I call uh you know a linguistic awareness. There are things that you learn unconsciously, and it's just about your brain building connections and drawing conclusions that you don't even explicitly draw, right? It just happens intuitively. That's it. Okay, so remember the key is practice. What kind of practice? Analysis. You need to analyze natural speech. That's the main thing. So the main question would be, how do I analyze natural speech? What kind of material do I want to work on? What kind of tool? I have a tool that helps you with that. All right. So that would make things faster. If you use practice
Yeah.
tool AI, it's gonna help with that. This is the tool. It's called let me write it down here. It's called practice tool AI. So when you go to the listening section, this is definitely going to help with that. All right, guys. So that's it. I hope that answers your question. Do we have any other question? Let's
No,
see.
that's all, Mr. Mo.
Okay, very good. So thanks for your time. Stick around. There are probably things we're going to talk about that you could comment on. So let's hear from someone else. Do we have another question? We have Abdel. Abdel, hello. Good morning. How are you doing? So, guys, those who are watching us online, you can also ask questions, right? If you have a question, write it down, be it on Facebook, on YouTube, or whatever it is. I will answer your question. Right? Okay, Abdel, are you around? Not around? Okay. What about Boris? Do you have a question? Hi.
Hi, coach. Hi, everyone.
Hello. Good morning.
Yes, good morning. Oh,
Great.
I don't have a question, but I
Mm-hmm.
think what is the good tools that I
Mm-hmm.
can use to improve my listening? Because
Yeah.
now my big problem in my English learning is to understand when the native people speak.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's very difficult for me to hear the word,
Yeah.
and yes, it's a little fast.
Mm-hmm.
That when they speak with me, I think this is my big problem now to
Yeah.
understand very clearly when the native speak.
Definitely. This is a common issue. It's closely related to the previous question. And remember, the key is don't just listen, analyze. Right? Don't just listen. Take time to analyze. So
Mm.
you are not the fastest way for you to improve your listening is not just to listen to people speaking just for the sake of listening. No. You want to listen and try to understand. So if you are not able to understand 90% or 100% of what people are saying, then what you want to do is to use, I don't know if it's on YouTube, you turn on the captions, whatever. Back in the days when I was starting to do, by the way, these are things that I've done myself, right? So I'm speaking from personal experience, and I'm probably not the only person who did so. I spent time back in the days when I didn't have um you know I mean, we had internet, and we had some tools, but we didn't have AI and many things that make things easier today. So back then, what I did is, I would download a YouTube video, for example, Martin Luther King's iconic speech, and the text, the transcripts. I had it at home. I remember printing it several times. I would listen to it, I would read the transcripts, and I will highlight things and then I will shadow. So I listen, I pause, I repeat after him, and so on. So I did several types of things with that. So I did so with Martin Luther King. I did so with Barack Obama. With Barack Obama, I had videos that were subtitles, subtitled. So I don't need to have the speech. But uh, in the days back in the days, I was comfortable with I was more comfortable with paper sheets. So I would print it. And when I read it, when it's physical and I read it, it seems to be more effective. So that's what I did, right? That's what I did, and well, l- over time it just happened. I started to figure things out. It was very hard and frustrating for me to understand CNN news reports, for instance, and that's even when I was studying English at the university already, right? So I was in college studying translation and conference interpreting. So I was supposed to be pretty, decently skilled in English, speaking wise, listening wise, and everything. But I was struggling tremendously to understand native speakers. There was this channel, South African channel. What was it? Super Sport, right? So Super Sport, CNN, and some of these. I could barely understand what these guys were saying. It was fast English, like you said, right? Back then I called it fast English. It's not fast English, it's natural English. But it was fast for me to understand. And that's how I came up with okay, no, let me so here's the process. I started questioning. I'm like, okay, so I can't understand what these guys are saying. How do I get to understand them? Well, first I need to read what they are saying. Okay, good thing. How do I find a text? It's gonna be harder for me to use a CNN or Fox News reports, because back then we didn't have the automatic YouTube subtitles, and when the subtitles or captions were not automatically added to the videos, we wouldn't access them, right? So there was no way for you to do it. We didn't have Happy Scribe and some of the platforms that allow you to automatically transcribe content. So I was limited there. So I would go for the subtitled videos on YouTube, right? So series, Friends. Friends is a very popular series for you to that you can use to learn English in context. Some of these videos with conversations, and then you have a text and everything. And then I will listen, I will play, I will pause. Sometimes I will repeat a sentence, a single sentence. I can repeat it several times, over and over, over and over, until it starts to make sense. And I didn't just listen to understand why it sounded difficult for me, why it was difficult for me to understand it without the text. I would figure that part out, and then I would also repeat it as closely as possible to them. So that's how I worked on my pronunciation and my accents, and that's how the magic happened. So you need to do it. You want to do it. The difference between those, and this is even relevant to English coaches, English teachers. The difference between English teachers who don't have a native accent or a natural accent, and those who do, is not necessarily natural gifts or whatever it is. It's just consistency most of the time, right? It's like many people try, but because they are not doing the right thing, or because they are impatient, they drop it. They give up on it. We're not talking about accent. That's another conversation topic. Maybe somebody will ask a question about it, and and then we get to discuss it. But that's it. So when you want to pick up a natural accent, for instance, for those who are interested in that, it's not compulsory. You are going to experience um demotivation, because it's a set of steps, right? In the beginning, it's not quite easy, and it's very frustrating, because you will struggle, you will sound odd and off and weird, and how you have to listen to your own voice, which is a terrible thing to do for most people, right? So you will have to go through this process. You will definitely have
Yeah.
to go through this process if you want to sound natural. Anyway, so that's sounding natural. Here, your question is about understanding natural English. It's pretty much the same thing. You will have to listen over and over. If you have, sometimes I would go for short clips, right? So I extracted. It was a daunting process. I tell you honestly, it's not something I would do again. It was just, I was determined. I was motivated. That's how I got there, because I would so first of all, I will download a YouTube video, and then I will um extract a clip from that video. So I can clip the video um several times. So I have maybe 4 or 5 chunks of the same video, but then different parts of it, and then I will be working on these specific parts, right? So sometimes it's 1 minute, other times it's 2 or 3 minutes, and stuff like that. You guys need to analyze spoken English. If you don't analyze spoken English, it's gonna take long for you to understand spoken English. And I'm talking about natural English, because I'm sorry for my Ghanaian and Nigerian friends, but they make it too easy for us. They make it too easy for us, right? So when that's all you do in terms of listening, it's the day you talk to an American or a British, you will be instantly disillusioned. That's when you notice your real level. Okay, I hope that makes sense. Does that make sense, Boris?
Yes, yes, yes. That makes sense. And
Okay.
in my case,
Yeah. Lost you.
when
I don't know
I
if you
when I
speak.
start to learn
Yeah, go ahead.
English, um,
Hmm.
Hello, can you?
Yeah, go ahead. I
hello,
think there's a bit of a delay. It froze for
yes,
some time, but I can hear you now. Go ahead.
yes. So I'm said. So in my case, when I start to learn English, it was very frustrating because yes,
Mm,
in my work area, we there are many persons who speak in English. Um,
yeah.
this is a fact. Yes, so sometimes I can feel a little bit frustrated
Hmm.
when it was difficult to me to understand my coworker, to understand my boss, my manager. So yes, but now I'm trying and I'm see
Hmm.
I'm improving in my English learning. So yes, the most things that I'm doing now is to listening the English podcast. Uh,
Exactly.
Generally, when I wake up early in the morning, um, I'm listening the English podcast. But I
Yeah.
think the for me when I use the subtitle to learn, I think is like I can how can I say that it's easy because
Yeah, but
when I
it's not
read
it's not
the
something you're gonna do all the time. That's a type of
it
activity,
is
right? It's
yes,
you do
yes,
it on purpose sometimes, but you don't always need captions. When you're doing
yes,
it, you're training your ears to understand. No, I mean, when you are, that's what we call active and passive listening, right? So passive listening is when you listen and you do not necessarily focus on everything they say, or maybe you do, but you're not analyzing. Active active listening is when you analyze. Yeah, active listening is when you analyze. So that's the thing. So you have the text, you have the audio, and then you try to build connections. But when you do that, you have a goal and you are practicing something specific. I'm not telling you guys that you need to have a text every time you practice your listening. No, I'm just telling you that sometimes you can spend time focusing on analyzing spoken English. That's it. That's what you do. All right.
yes, yes.
Yeah.
Because I think yes, in the real situation, You can't
Mhm.
you don't have a subtitle.
The
So
subtitle.
there's
But if you
a
practice
subtitle. Yes.
alone, if you practice effectively alone, you will perform better in real life situations, because the goal of doing that is to be able to figure things out, so and you know, and get better at listening, so that in real life situations you can defend yourself. But if you don't train yourself to do something, you not make it. It's like a sprinter, right? So the sprinter wants to be very good at running, and the sprinter wants to win a race. So how do you win a race? Well, you train, you practice, the same thing you're going to do during that competition, so that when you're out there you perform better, isn't it? So that's the thing. So you're not going
Yes.
to be doing that all the time. You're going to do it until you make enough progress and you don't feel the necessity to do it. So I did it for some time. When I saw that my listening was getting better, I stopped to do that. So that it.
Yes, definitely. I think
Yeah,
training make better. This is
definitely.
a first thing. Yes, yes.
All right.
I'm agree. It's
Good,
correct.
good. Very good. What about, do we guys have another question here? I can take maybe one or two more. Yes.
Hello, yes, coach.
Hello. Good morning.
Yes, morning to everybody. Yes, coach. I want just
Yeah.
you to tell us with your experience, how long do we have to take for practicing a day so that we can have efficient results?
Oh, it depends on your availability and your current level. So I didn't count it in my case. I just did it and I saw progress. But I think for somebody who does it consistently, not starting from zero, but at least from a lower intermediate level, it could take, uh, anywhere from 5 to 10 months or more, to see significant progress. That's it. But in English learning, it's true that a smart goal is time bound. But in English learning, I think it's probably more efficient for you to stop. Um, I mean, it depends on each one's personality and work, you know, methods, right? So you can be stimulated by time, by this type of pressure when your goal is time bound. So in this sense, it makes sense for you to set a limit, like a deadline. But I think for most people, um, it's probably unnecessary for us to, you know, focus on how long it takes to achieve that, rather than focusing on how effectively we do it and how close we get into it day after day. So I think the second approach would be much better. You try it, and then after some time, maybe after 2 to 3 to 4 weeks, you take a break and reflect on the progress you've made. Did it work? Do you see progress? Do you see changes? And then you check what you have to adjust and you keep going. That's it. Honestly, in my case, I didn't count. I didn't set a goal. I wasn't like I have to do this in 2 or 3 months. I was more focused on how effective what I was doing was, right? So how effective it is. If after 2 to 3 months, or I don't know, after 3 to 4 to 5 months, you don't see enough progress, you don't see the effect, the impact of what you're doing, then you reconsider it and then you keep pushing. That's the idea. Right. So yeah, of course, in the long run, you would need to set a goal, and achieve milestones, and know exactly where you're going, but focus even more on doing the right thing. So that's it. That's it.
Okay.
If
Uh,
Thank you.
Yeah,
I'm afraid all depends on your sensibility and your
yeah, yeah,
capacity
definitely.
to learn fast and
Yeah,
also the method, the tools that you use. Because
definitely.
on Facebook, on YouTube,
Hmm.
you can see many tools to learn English very fast, to
Hmm.
to improve your English. You can see many tools, but
Hmm.
also you need to know your capacity, the tools that will
Yeah,
be easy for you to learn very fast, because there are many
definitely.
things, there are many technique. I don't know if you're correct, but yes,
Yeah,
there are many tools to learn. But the most things that you need to know is how I can how I can learn in my own a basic in on my own capacity to learn.
exactly.
What is the good method that I can use to learn very fast.
Definitely. So that's
You
it.
know what I'm saying? Yes. So
That's
I
what the
think
journey is about.
yes, you need to know your own
These are
capacity. So
these are the right questions. Self-assessing, knowing your capacity to learn. So understanding your learning personality, for instance. There are visual learners, kinesthetic learners, um, you know, auditory learners. Some people are spatial. Some people is the spatial is like, okay. Anyway, they are connected to the different types of intelligence as well, and also the different types of memory, right? So yeah, you need to understand these things, like you said, and use the right materials, because some people are so visual that maybe focusing on just listening would not be enough for them, right? They need to write down, or they need to have a text. They even need to have a physical text, like a paper sheet, for instance. So some people have are these type of learners. So you need to understand yourself as a learner, and self-assess and everything. So that's the thing. I think English learning always happen. So I've learned English, I've become a teacher, and then I'm still learning English every time. I still practice my listening and everything. It always happened. So it's a set of milestones. So you guys may be at a certain stage where you need somebody to push you, and then yeah, and then you move to another stage where you can learn independently and all these things. So it's stages, but the main thing is how effective uh is it? How effective am I in the process? That's the thing. I'm saying this because sometimes the perception of your progress can be you know on it can be sort of blurred, not quite clear. It's like the weight loss journey, right? So you have this person who is overweight and is trying to lose weight, and then they would be self-checking after each workout session. And because they do not necessarily see any change after each workout, and they keep doing it over and over every single day for 3 weeks or for 4 weeks, because by the simple fact of looking at themselves, they don't see any major change. They have the impression of not making progress, right? But number one thing you need to know about progress is that other people notice your progress before you actually do notice it, right? So that's it. So it's about consistency, right? So that person will see the actual progress after some time. It's like they remain consistent. They make sure they're doing the right thing, and boom, 5 months later, or I don't know, 9 months later, they look back and they're like, oh wow, yeah, something happened in here. I did make progress. And most of the time, when you experience that, you also realize that, oh, over time, I stopped to be so like time obsessed, right? And I just focused on the process. I enjoyed the process. I tried to do the right thing, and I was consistent, and it just happened. So that's the thing. That's something I wanted to underline here. But ideally, I don't know. It takes months. It takes months to achieve it. Any other question? Yeah. Another question? No other question. All right, guys, if you don't have any other question, I think that would be it. That would be it for today. Let me try again. Do we have another question from somebody in here? Rodriguez has spoken. Dr. Esdras hasn't. Ariel has. Boris, no, from the internet. Okay, guys, I had pretty much half an hour. That's what I had for today. So that would be it. Thank you guys for your time. And well, let's keep in touch. Let's make things happen. Let's make progress happen. Bye for
Okay.
now. All right.
Thank you, coach.
Yes.
You're welcome. See you
Thank
then.
you, Coach.